Well, for more on this story, we can speak to Tania Hary, who joins us live from Tel Aviv. She is the executive director at Gisha, an Israeli NGO that promotes freedom of movement for Palestinians. Welcome to the programme. It was a traumatic and bloody war 2 years on. The blockade continues 10 years on. What do you think Israeli politics have achieved in terms of security?
I think, Israeli politicians thought falsely that they could squeeze the Gaza Strip when Hamas came to power, that they could separate Gaza from the West Bank and supposedly achieve security for Israelis. It doesn't take an expert to know that that's not been the case and that there have been devastating consequences for the civilian population in the Gaza Strip. 2 years on after the war, you have about 75,000 people who are still displaced. Unemployment remains high, above 40%. For young people, it's over 50%. Most of the population is still dependent on humanitarian aid. Now, I don't see a situation where young people in Gaza don't feel hope or a kind of horizon for their opportunities. I don't see how that can contribute to Israel's security.
Do you have hope, though, for ending the blockade of Gaza?
Look, part of my job is to remain optimistic, and what I always say is that I feel lucky to do what I do. I'm one of the rare Israelis who gets to see another side of Gaza, a side of Gaza that's not presented, unfortunately, in the Israeli media too much. I get to meet young people who are trying to get to school, families who are trying to reunite, a young woman who just wanted to study law in the West Bank. And so that is what fills me with a lot of hope and optimism. It's not for nothing that people say people in Gaza are resilient. They've experienced a lot. They're still trying to make something better of their lives.
What is the NGO?
So I think we don't have the luxury of losing hope.
What is the NGO that you work for doing to change the situation that's led to the war 2 years ago?
Yeah, so we're an Israeli organization. We provide legal assistance to individuals who are trying to get permits from the Israeli military to travel in and out of Gaza. And we also try to bring about policy change on access in general. So we're lobbying members of the government. We're trying to recruit support from all kinds of people who see that it's in Israel's interest actually to allow better access. Our name actually means access or approach, and we really focus on freedom of movement. We think it's the precondition to a better life, both for residents of Gaza, but also for residents of Israel.
You mentioned Israel promoting better access. Turkey has signed that very historic deal with Israel to allow humanitarian aid. And I think it was something like 11,000 tons that arrived on a ship liner. What do you make of aid coming in? It's going to be very difficult to reach people in those areas that are still very remote.
Exactly. Well, unfortunately, the deal that was signed between Israel and Turkey won't really bring about a real change in policy. It could bring in some more humanitarian aid, and of course that's necessary, it's important, but more aid won't solve the problem. The problem in Gaza isn't just rebuilding physically what was destroyed, and that's the mistake a lot of people are making. We can count the truckloads going in, we can count the number of buildings that are being rebuilt. Of course, right now that's a small fraction of what's needed. But real recovery, I think, relies on allowing a kind of horizon for young people, allowing economic opportunity for young people. It means opening up the borders to allow goods to Gaza's once natural markets in Israel and the West Bank. It means allowing travel for people trying to get to jobs, to meetings, to visit family. I think that without a sense of hope, real recovery is just not possible.
Okay, Tania Hary, thank you for taking time out to speak to TRT World.